Hey folks, stay tuned and we're going to show you how you can use our centralized comprehensive weather forecasting tool for your next fishing trip, and we'll show you how you build your own. Stay tuned. Hey folks, I'm going to show you a couple tools that we use before we go fishing. Check out the weather, the conditions, the tides. And what makes this new tool that we've built for ourselves is that we consolidate all the different websites we use onto one page, and we use a Google tool called Sites to do that. So I'm going to show you our tool. It's free to use if you want to use it for your own fishing planning. If you live in the central Jersey area, we monitor a lot of the sites that do the forecasting and for conditions outside of Barnegat Inlet, but you can use that at Manasquan. It'll work fine for both inlets. So first thing I want to show you is this one website. It's called sites.google.com/view/from the tide to your table tools/home. So that'll be in the link below, and that's our site. This is what we've built. And at the top we've got the Windy application, and I broke it up into 4 little panels, and you can see right here at the left hand corner we've got our wind view. And really quick to zoom in, we can just click anywhere here and get what the wind is. And if you're familiar with Windy, we can also fast forward and say, okay, what's the conditions going to be on Saturday? Let's say we're going to go fishing on Saturday. And at 4 a.m. we could see it's going to be blowing 19 knots. And I can move the indicator here just to give us an idea. So if you're used to using Windy, it's the same thing, except again we consolidate everything into one page. The next panel are the wave conditions. So same thing, I can fast forward, I can click and see what the wave heights are going to be for Saturday. And right now we're obviously not going fishing on Saturday. It's mid-January, but it's going to be 4-foot waves. And the last panel I have here is the radar conditions. So just get an overview of what the weather looks like in the US, and you can obviously zoom in into our area here in New Jersey. If I scroll down, and again, what makes this really nice, it's one page and we can see everything. I keep a webcam from surfchecks.com on the Manasquan Inlet, and what's really nice about this surf cam is obviously I can see the surf, we can see what the conditions are, but this camera will pan over to the inlet and we could see when boats are leaving and what kind of conditions they're facing when they're going out. So this is more for real time right before we go out to see what we're looking at, and should we go out or should we save the gas and stay home. This next little panel here, and at the end of the video I will show you how to build these things. This next panel here is from the NOAA, and it's one of the buoys outside of Barnegat Inlet, and it's giving me real-time conditions. So right now I could see that the seas are at 4.3 feet and that the water temperature is at 45 degrees. If you look here at the webcam, you can see it just panned over to the jetty, and that's where the inlet is. So we actually could see when boats are coming in and out what the conditions look like. Next panel here is the moon. So it tells us what the moon, are we looking at a new moon, full moon, what's the moon phase for the particular time we're going to go fishing. So again, looking at Windy, we can see our wind report, we can see our wave report, we can see general radar weather. We've got a real-time camera to see what the conditions are. We know what our moon phases are going to be. So if we don't want to fish a full moon for stripers, or if we're looking to fish a particular phase for whatever fish whatever species we're going for, we can do that. The next panel here is pretty much the sea conditions that we all get different ways, but this marineweather.net's got a nice page that we like to use. So everything's here set up for us, and this is again Manasquan Inlet to Little Lake, about 20 nautical miles north, nautical miles out, and it gives us the conditions. We use this, we compare it to Windy, we do a lot of different comparisons of different sites. So right here so far we've got 2 sites that we're going to compare wind and wave predictions to. So if I scroll down, I get to Saturday, and again, what makes this really nice, it's all in one place. Scroll a little further. I like to always keep the Hurricane Center website up, and just in case there's any tropical storms brewing, it's right here at our fingertips. We could see if there's any depressions or anything coming up the coast that might cause us to have some rough conditions outside. And at the bottom, what you'll see is some tide tables. So we've got the Barnegat Inlet, which is primarily the inlet we use. And what I'm looking here for the tide is, what kind of conditions I'm going to face. Is there a swift current? Is the tide coming in? Is there an ebb flow going out? Is the wind heading from the east and the tide's going out? We know the waves are going to be stacked. We may wait an hour. We may get out an hour earlier to avoid any swift currents in the Barnegat Inlet, and especially if they're opposing the wind. Next set of tide here is ocean tides off Seaside Heights, New Jersey, and this gives us an idea what kind of tides we might be fishing if we're close in for wreck fishing, or if we're doing striper fishing. Typically we don't fish the tides for striper. For bottom fishing we do. And last one here is the bay and Seaside Park area. We've got some low spots. We know when there's a blowout tide that we may hit some bottom, and it just gives us a better idea what kind of conditions we're going to face when we're leaving our harbor and when we're coming back. And lastly, down here, just for yourselves, there's a bunch of links to our videos. And again, this site, it's listed in the comments below. It's sites.google.com/view/from the tide to your table tools/home. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how to set up one of these websites. Okay, it's very simple. What you do is you can come over here and you go to sites.google.com, and you have to have a Google account. A Gmail account will do it, and you can build any type of page you want. The pages we built, again, were to consolidate all the web sites that we go to. And if I just hit blank, create a new site, it's just like looking at a document, like if you're going to create a Word document, or if you're using PowerPoint or another tool like that. So anyway, I can come here, and on our site we didn't have a header. I got rid of it. You can add one if you want. So basically I just tossed a header, and you have to give your site a name. It could be anything you want. Google will check to make sure it's not being used. So I'll just call this test site number 1. Right? Now, here's where the fun comes in. You want to start adding websites to here. So if I come over here and I click on the embed button and I click embed, basically I can copy and paste a URL, or I can embed code. So I'm going to show you in 2 seconds how to do that. And basically a URL is, https://www.website.com, whatever it might be, and you just put the URL in. In other instances, some of the websites that we go to, like Windy, they give you something called widgets, and they give you a little snippet of code, and you don't have to know how to code. You just grab the code that they give you and you embed it in here, and that the whole purpose is so that you can embed their websites into your own website. So I'll show you that in 1 second. So what I want to show you next is how I go about getting the different URLs for the different sites. So what I have here, upper left hand corner, are a lot of the sites that we use, and I'll start with this one site, which is basically the sea condition forecast, the NOAA forecast from marineweather.com. So if I go to the top, and you'll see the URL gets highlighted, I simply Control C on my Mac, or I can right click and do copy, and that's about it. Now I'll copy that into the sites tool, and I'll simply put this web page into my web page. The second thing I want to show you, and I'm going to do that in a second, is if I go to Windy and I'm going to zero in on our particular area, and I'm going to leave this here on the wind forecast. So whereabouts Barnegat Inlet, and let's say I like this view, I want it in my website. If I go to the Windy menu and I say embed widget on page, basically right here in the pink section it says embed this HTML code into your web page. That's basically it. If I take this and I say copy to clipboard, I'm going to embed that into the tool, and you'll see exactly how we can get the Windy page into ours, and I'll show you that in 1 second. Okay, so now that I went to Windy and I grabbed their code from their tool, I can just come in here and insert it. So I go into embed, and I can embed just a simple URL, which is the address of the website, or I can type in here and type embed code, and I paste it back in. I really don't care what that code is. That's HTML code, and I'm just going to say next, and there it is. And I can just insert it, and now I've got that little widget from Windy on my web page. I could size it, and I can go off to another page, and I can just keep adding things the way I like to see them. Again, this is just a very quick example. If I go in, and I'll show you in a second, just to do a simple URL, how you can paste in a website so that you can have maybe the panel underneath this will be the website of the NOAA report. And I'll show you that in 1 second. Okay, so what I did was I went to a website, I went to the URL bar at the very top, and I just directed my cursor up there, highlighted it, and I copied it into my clipboard. That's about it. So now I'll use the embed feature again from the sites tool, and in this time I'll leave the by URL alone, and I'll copy and paste the URL, and there it's just a simple URL, and it gives you a couple of options, and you can see which one you want. I'm going to go with the whole page, so insert whole page, and there you go. Now I've got the NOAA report for forecast for our area, and I can drag it, I can put it up here, I can make it bigger and put it underneath. So this just gives you an idea. Last thing to do is simply come up to the upper right hand corner and publish it. Right, so I'm not going to publish this site because it is a dummy site, but you can give it an address. So you can give it your email address, you can give it whatever you want, any name you want, and it'll be appended to the Google Sites URL, and it'll be for yourself, or you can give it out to your friends and use it for your next fishing expedition, or you can use this for anything else you want. So I hope you enjoy this. It's a quick little tool, and I'll give you a quick overview again of our site. Again, we've got our wind, waves, and radar at the top. We've got live surf cam. We've got live feed from the buoys out outside of Barnegat, so we know what the current sea conditions are. And one thing I didn't explain before is if I do click on some of these panels, like I'll click on the moon panel, it'll give me the full page. And now I can go further into this website, and I'm just a click away back from where I was. So I don't have to navigate to different websites, take different notes. I just have to come to mine and just see what's here. Our weather report, our sea conditions report, our hurricane center report to see if there's any depressions or any major storms out at sea, and again our tide tables. And for your pleasure, any links to our videos. I'll be posting our most current videos here if you're interested in seeing them. So thank you, good luck fishing, and hope to see you soon.